Jimmy Butler over the past few seasons has been hard to gauge. It seems like he gives us these all-time great playoff performances or playoff runs in general, just to follow it up with a subpar regular season. Feels like us Hoop fans go back and forth on whether he's a star or a superstar. Is he top 10, top 15, top 20? When it comes to his play in the regular season, the answer to that question is up in the air. But when it comes to the playoffs, Jimmy G buckets may just be top 5. Something about that playoff atmosphere just brings out the best in Butler and allows him to activate playoff Jimmy. Butler's dog mentality and toughness combined with the will to win that he has is almost unmatched by any other star player come playoff time. Butler is just cut from a different cloth, and he got that dog in him. And I'm not just talking about that regular dog. I'm talking about that holla holla. Honestly, if seed, 1 seed, 8 seed, it don't even matter. If the playoffs roll around and Butler is a part of it, get prepared for a show. Just sit back, watch how Jimmy cooks.
Before we get back to the video, man, just real quick, be sure to drop a thumbs up on this video if you're feeling it. Hit that subscribe button, it helps the channel out a ton, and even turn on post notifications to know when we drop videos over here on Self-Check. Let's get back to the video.
A wise man once said, a sign of a good man is when he can talk shit when it's even score or when he's behind. That wise man was Michael Jordan. And Jimmy Butler might just be the last of those type of good men around the league. See, while I was searching up stuff for this video, I came across something real interesting. That Jimmy Butler is, no, not Michael Jordan's son. That Jimmy Butler is actually the closest thing to Bean and Michael Jeffrey that we have in the league today. You see, Kobe followed in Jordan's footsteps, stride for stride, from his mannerisms to the way how he walked and talked, all the way down to the way he hooped. You see, a lot of players have followed in Kobe's footsteps, patterned their game after his, taking his moves, adding it to their game, and making it their own. From guys like Devin Booker and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, to DeMar DeRozan, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George, to Kyrie Irving, and the list goes on and on and on and on. But none quite have the mentality that Kobe and Jordan had. None except maybe Jimmy Butler. Jimmy's fire and desire and will to win is the same stuff we seen from those legends when they played back in the day. Doesn't matter how the job gets done, as long as it gets done and that they win at all costs. We've all heard the stories that Jordan and Kobe's leadership and the way that they went about things and the way that they handled their business just wasn't for everybody, and that some dudes couldn't handle it. We've heard similar stories about Jimmy Butler. Prime example, that Timberwolves practice and calling them soft and basically beat the starting lineup with a bunch of third stringers. And on top of that, Jimmy Butler actually guards his matchup and lives up to being stamped as a two-way player. If you notice, most teams will just have their defensive specialists guard the opposing team's best player, and their best player will basically just guard whoever is kept in the corner. Jimmy will actually guard his matchup and won't duck no smoke. Butler embraces that star versus star matchup. That stuff that us NBA fans love. He accepts that challenge and welcomes the competition. There's not too many guys like that in the NBA anymore. Jimmy Butler is the last of a dying breed. What makes Jimmy so tough to guard in the postseason is that in a way, he almost becomes basically a completely different player. Because Butler ups his level of assertiveness and aggression, teams more than likely might be a little thrown off guard and gotta toss out their initial game plan on how to guard this dude and basically just call an audible, because this ain't the same dude that they see in the regular season. Off the rip, for starters, Jimmy actually starts hitting jumpers from the outside. Hold on, wait, actually scratch that. I'll take that a step further just so y'all get where I'm coming from. He actually starts to attempt long range jumpers. This is the same guy who you almost have to beg to shoot threes in the regular season. In the regular season, do y'all know how many threes Jimmy put up per game? Don't worry, I'll give y'all a second.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
0.6 attempts per game.
Oh shit.
Throughout the entirety of his 12-year career, doesn't even average 1 3-pointer attempted per game. And now somehow, when the playoffs roll around, this man is finding a way to knock down his threes at a 37% clip. In that first round series against the Bucks, Jimmy knocked down 12 threes. And you're probably thinking like, ooh, okay, he knocked down 12 threes, which may not sound like a lot without context. Just to put into perspective, during the regular season, Jimmy Butler played 64 games in which he knocked down 36 threes. It only took him 5 games against the Bucks to knock down a third of what it took him the entire regular season to do. Once Jimmy has the range game working in his favor, it's not much a defense can do. All of a sudden, a shot that they would dare Jimmy to shoot and were willing to live with, now all it takes is a subtle up fake and knock Chris off his feet, and now Jimmy is on his way to where he really likes to do his damage versus those boys, and that's in the paint. The Bucks front court ain't lacking no size now, but the way Jimmy was finishing over these dudes at an absolutely mind-blowing efficiency, you would have thought they was. Giannis is 6'11", Lopez is 7 foot, Portis is 6'10". Whether it was either or a combination of these guys, Jimmy was finishing over all of them, and some of these are tough, and I mean tough shots, especially that one. And what he was doing on the perimeter, Drew Holiday, was almost Hall of Fame levels of criminal. Drew Holiday is widely regarded as the best perimeter defender across the league, according to the player. When your peers stamp you as the best defender, it just speaks volume a little bit louder. But hey, Jimmy Butler wasn't giving a damn about none of that and proceeded to torch Drew Holiday like no other. The Bucks have arguably, if not the best defense in the league. They have the best perimeter defender in the league, quote unquote, the runner-up for the defensive player of the year, and also one of the best rim protectors in the league, and arguably the best player in the world due to his ability to play on both sides of the ball. And Jimmy Butler made a mockery of all of that and made that Bucks team look like chopped liver. Outside of the 21 playoffs, y'all remember those where Jimmy Butler was talking about he was superly locked in? Outside of that, every postseason run Jimmy has put together has been better than the last. I thought Jimmy would never outdo what he did down there in the bubble, leading the Heat past the Bucks and then beating the Celtics and then getting that Heat team to the finals and going head to head with LeBron. Even outplaying LeBron in game 3, 2 triple doubles in the final as well. Man, Jimmy Butler was hooping. Then the 2022 playoffs rolled around, and in that Boston series, towards the end of that series, Jimmy Butler was masterful. To me, LeBron's game 6 in Boston, the 45, 15, and 5 down 3-2, more than likely if they lose that game, the big three gets broken up. That's the greatest Heat playoff game in my opinion. But Jimmy Butler's performance in game 6 of the 2022 playoffs versus the Celtics might be right behind it. Season on the line and you drop 47, 9, and 8. Then you followed up in game 7, playing all 48 minutes, and then you just come up just a tad bit short on that final shot that would have sent y'all to the finals. Even in defeat, you gotta respect that and admit that's big time. And now we're here in 2023, and he leads the 8th seed Heat past the 1st seeded Bucks. And before y'all say Giannis got hurt and all this, I don't even want to hear it. In the games Giannis played in, he still found the way to drop 38 and 20 and a triple-double, and they even lost those games. So whether Giannis was on the court or not, it pretty much didn't matter. Not to mention, Oladipo and Hero got hurt, and those boys couldn't come back and play. Giannis did. But that's a topic for another day, and I'll finish talking about that in a different video. Fans dropped a combined 98 points over the last 2 games of the series. I'm not sure where that falls in the history of the game, but scoring almost 100 points in the span of 2 games in the playoffs has to have Jimmy towards the top or whatever list that is. That 56 points he dropped in game 4 ties him for 4th on the all-time highest score in playoff games behind Michael Jeffrey, Elgin Baylor, and believe it or not, Donovan Mitchell. These last few playoff runs Jimmy has put together should serve as an eye-opener that more respect needs to be put on Jimmy's name as a playoff performer. And not just among the current players playing today, but among some of the best playoff performers of all time. Jimmy has said in interviews that on no level of basketball he's played on, that he's won anything. He doesn't want to go out that way, and he for sure doesn't want to end his career that way. That is what drives Jimmy. That is what pushes Jimmy, and that's what motivates Jimmy come playoff time. A chance to win an NBA championship. If Jimmy Butler can get this Heat team to the finals, they'll become only the 2nd 8th seed behind the 1999 New York Knicks to do so. As currently constructed, I don't know how likely it is that Jimmy wills this team to said championship, but hey, that won't stop Jimmy from trying.